Raid starts off very similar to the normal version of Onslaught, but there's slight mechanical changes for each encounter. So we'll break them down with my footage of my clear in the background. The first encounter starts off the exact same as it normally would. You're going to split up, you're going to kill your Shinkas, and you're going to get your keys. Once you have your keys to cross the bridge, this is where things change. From there, there's now a battery that you're going to have to carry across the bridge. You get a debuff, so you have to drop the battery about every 9 seconds and juggle it with your teammate on the bridge. On top of that, the people who are on the plates will also have to juggle when you're standing on the plate, so you get the debuff, the 10-second counter. Once that counter hits 10, you die. So the people on the plates will have to swap before the 10-second mark hits, and the people carrying the battery will have to swap. The other difference in the encounter is that when you get across the bridge, normally you only need one Scorch Cannon. In this case, you need two because there are two objectives you have to shoot and break with the Scorch Cannon. Otherwise, the entire encounter remains the same. You just have to manage your communication and debuff timers accordingly. The next encounter is very similar to the original, and you use some mechanics from the first encounter. So the second encounter, we're always using batteries as well. For that one, same thing applies. You're going to have to juggle it between your teammates when you're in the phases of holding the batteries, okay? You get 10 seconds, you can drop it, and it's a pretty simple concept once you get it down. The key change on this encounter is the shapes that you have to enter on the monitor. They have to be done in a certain order. To open the raid, it'll show you kind of an introductory where it'll have a picture on the monitor, one dot and a shape will show up, two dots, another shape will show up. That's letting you know that's order 1 and 2. Okay? It's not very complicated for the beginning. It can start getting complicated as you get inside, but I'm going to break it down so it's very simple. Okay? Once you get inside of the encounter and you insert your batteries to start it, you will do as you normally do. You'll kill your enemies, kill your Shinkas. One person will go onto each side to go into their rooms. Okay, this is where those dots matter. The people on the inside have to coordinate, and the people on the outside have to coordinate because you have to put them in the correct order and also match your monitor. So on the inside, someone will see, for example, diamond with a one dot, and then there'll be nothing at two dots, and then three dots maybe, and they'll see the small circle at three dots, and then four dots, nothing. The reason that matters is because then on the other side, the person inside will be seeing their first shape at the 2 dot mark and the 4 dot mark. Okay? What that means is now the person on the inside who has the 1 dot mark for diamond is going to have to put in his diamond at the first, and then he cannot put in his next symbol until the person on the other side puts in their first symbol because they're alternating. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not always in that order. It could be 1 and 4 on one side and 2 and 3, or it could be 1, 3, 2, 4. There's not a ton of combinations it can be, but they have to be done in order. So inside's got to do theirs in order based off what the dots show where their placements are. Outside has to do the same. So on the blue side or the colored side, the orangish side, you'll have to do that corresponding as well, okay? So your sides on the outside will match your order as the people on the inside, and you have to coordinate. So the people on the inside have to put it in on their order, so 1 and 3 and 2 and 4, or 1 on 1 and then 2, 3, and then 4. Same goes on the outside. So the monitors and the dots are very important when they're showing you your shapes. You don't have to look at them really on the outside because the inside ones will match, but you do have to make sure you're paying attention to the order. So it's super important the people on the inside coordinate that. And once they figure that out, you go through the mechanics like normal, other than once you get teleported in and split up, you will have to alternate holding the battery after you go through. This encounter, unlike the first, you do only need to get one Scorch Cannon in the room to shoot all 4 of the battery explosions. And then when you get into the room with the Shinka, same thing, you only have to kill one Scorch Cannon guy. It lets you use that one Scorch Cannon to break both of the glowy balls to be able to go through. It's very important to just keep an eye on your debuff timer. You can only hold that battery for 10 seconds before you have to drop it, and then someone else on your team has to pick it up. If it's on the ground for too long, it will wipe you. So it's very important you're communicating, but the encounter is really not that complicated. You just have to make sure you're communicating your order correctly. For the final encounter, it's very much similar to the normal Onslaught. There's not a ton of mechanics that have been added. However, with the precision Shinkas, after killing them, there'll be a buff available. This buff is what you need to be able to shoot the observers. It's important that you have two people juggling that buff, so that way they're not on cooldown when the buff expires, because after you complete a round of mechanics, you get a debuff where you can't pick something up for a minute. So during the round, you can keep refreshing it, but ideally you have one person doing it for each phase of the boss's preset before you get to damage, okay? So we just had two people juggling the buff. So at first phase, when we're getting the Scorch Cannons and shooting, we had one person. Then when he jumps to the other side, we swap to another person. And then by the time he jumps back to the middle and people are going inside, the first person can pick that buff up again. Same thing applies for Scorch Cannons. After you've used a Scorch Cannon, you get a 1 minute debuff. With that 1 minute debuff, you'd think, oh, well, I'm not going to be able to pick up the Scorch Cannons on the other side. That is incorrect. You will have enough time for that debuff to expire, and you pick up the Scorch Cannons on the other side and shoot them as well. So we just had the same two people managing the buff to shoot the observers, and the same two people managing the buff to shoot the Scorch Cannons, okay? The other difference is there are observers during the phases where you're getting Scorch Cannons now. So it's not like they only come up when he's in anti-invasion protocol mode. They're there pretty much the whole time. So it's paramount that you're paying attention to your buff timers and debuff timers for the people who pick up the observer buff. Ideally, you have a Tan or an Umeko to handle that because of the long-range weaponry with the scout rifles and the snipers. It just makes it very simple, and then their task, if they have that buff, is to focus on observers the entire time. Okay? The other difference is for the people who get teleported in, or who take the teleporters in to kill the servitor to see the code for the weak points, there will be an observer up immediately when you go into the room. So you can grab the buff from the Shinkas before you go in, so you can shoot that observer, or you can hide behind the thing. My teammates were grabbing the buff when they went in, but when I've gone in, it wasn't necessary. It's entirely preference, but if you want to be safe, your people who are going in, don't have them use Scorch Cannons and don't have them pick up the debuff during the pre-phase, so that way they can pick it up before they go in, so they can take out that observer as soon as they enter. Otherwise, the encounter remains relatively similar to the original. You go through your DPS phases. It is possible to one phase them. We were not able to do that, but the encounter remains the same. It's just a matter of monitoring your buff and debuff timers. I actually think this encounter may have been easier than second encounter, just because it was more similar than anything else to the original version of Onslaught. I was trying to get this out pretty quickly. It's just a quick and dirty guide. I'm just covering the basic mechanics. I hope that this was enough to help you guys get through. If it's not, please leave comments. I just wanted to get something out there nice and quick for you all.